Okay, this is I Am a Vaper 2016 with Sarah and Ted getting ready for their interview for the YouTube uh, account. Sarah, as you know, we're going to be asking you several questions, and this will be going up on YouTube. Answer the questions as quick, as easy, and honestly as possible. Okay?
Okay.
And the first question I'm going to ask you is, how long have you been vaping?
For me, it's about 2.5 years. I quit in October of 2013.
And Ted, how about you?
Well, I've been vaping, just totally vaping for 3 years, but I vaped a little bit prior to that, mixing it with the cigarettes.
Okay, so you were kind of, we call them like a hybrid vapor.
Well, I was trying to find something that was reliable. And once I found something that was reliable that I could depend on to deliver the nicotine, I just threw the cigarettes away.
There you go. Okay. What made you both start vaping?
I decided to try vaping because I saw the success that he was able to have with it.
Okay.
And I was going to die if I didn't.
Okay.
It's
And
pretty motivator.
that's a good motivator right there. What is the best thing that's happened to you both since you started vaping?
I mean, aside from not getting sick as frequently, I think I've only gotten bronchitis twice in the entire time that I've been vaping. I don't have to take my migraine medication anymore. For whatever reason, the nicotine helps control it.
And what about you, Ted?
I have a lot more energy. I can walk a little bit more. I was having circulation problems. That was my big problem, and heart problems. And I had to where your heart is really beating irregularly, and it seemed to. I had an operation, but that wasn't successful until I gave up the smoking. And the doctors have been trying to get me to quit smoking. I tried everything. I tried the patch. I tried the gum. But I smoked for a long time, since I was 15 years old. It's been 40, 50 years. And I quit, was able to quit with the vaping. I wasn't, nothing else ever stopped. And now my doctor, the last visit to the doctor I had, it was great. I walked in there, and this woman that was taking my doctor's place, I had never seen her before. She was the doctor, and I walked in, and she looked at my vape, my mods in my pockets, and I expected her to say something derogatory about it, but she asked me, "What flavors are you vaping?" And I go, "Oh, well, I've got coffee cake and peanut butter and chocolate." And she goes, "Well, that's great." She says her husband started vaping about a year ago, and yeah, all my doctors have told me, vape as much as you want, just as long as you don't smoke. My heart doctor, my regular doctor, my circulation doctor, he's still a little bit ambivalent about it, but he says it's better than smoking.
There you go. Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. What has been the worst thing that's happened to you since vaping?
I can't think of anything overly horrible. There are some people that are a little judgmental about it, but after a little bit of education on the topic, they seem to back down a little bit.
The worst thing that's happened to me since I started vaping is my dog died. But other than that, life's been the same.
Okay. How does your family and friends feel about you vaping? Vaping? That's a new word. Vaping.
I mean, most of my friends are pretty supportive. I've even converted a couple friends at work. I don't think that we really have any family that has any opposition to it. They all feel that it's better than smoking at the very least.
Yeah, all my friends were smokers, so they're dead.
Okay. All right. And Ted, you've already kind of answered this one, but I'm going to ask you, Sarah. Oh, how does your doctor feel about you vaping?
It's kind of hard to say how she feels overall. She was a little skeptical about it when I first told her that I had switched. And after giving her a little more information on it, she seemed to accept it a little bit more. And like a lot of other people, just fall back on, well, it's got to be better than smoking.
Okay. Do you have any family or friends that smoke or have smoked in the past? I think you kind of went over that, but would.
Well, my mother-in-law currently smokes.
But she vapes too.
Yeah, she has a little mod that she uses for when it's too messy to go outside or too cold, or when she's in the car with my daughter. My grandma, his mom, she passed away when I was 11, and that was a direct result of her smoking. As far as friends, I don't have anybody that had passed away as far as friends go that was from smoking. I don't know beyond that.
How about anyone with medical problems related to smoking?
Well, my mother-in-law still smokes, and she's had cancer twice. But that doesn't seem to deter her.
And that goes with both of you?
Yeah, yeah. My dad had brain cancer, but and my mom she died of pulmonary problems related to smoking. But yeah, I don't know.
What would you both do if regulations passed and it made it harder for us to vape?
I'd go outlaw.
Honest.
I've done it before.
Right.
I'd have to say that the first thing I would do is stock up on as much nicotine as I could, because there's a few close friends and family that depend on me to make juice. And after that, I would find as many ways as I could to raise awareness and fight doing whatever I could.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people that rely on this.
Right, right. How well do you think the community stands together about vaping and regulations?
I mean, there's a lot of different communities that are working for advocacy. I don't know how well they all work together. I know there's a lot of people that are involved in several of the different groups. But I don't know that, and I don't know if it's just that I don't see it, if I'm not online enough to notice it, but I don't see a lot of intermingling between a lot of the groups.
Well, you're promoting peace, though, you
Right.
know, with vaping, and I've never seen anybody rally anybody by promoting peace. It's always by promoting a war, and you can really rally people if you can promote some kind of a war. If you can make it a war against smoking, you might be able to get more people.
What are your feelings about standing up against the FDA and legislation regulations that are being made against the vaping and vaping community?
I mean, I definitely feel that we need to stand our ground, and we need to make sure that the industry isn't destroyed by the regulations that they end up putting forth. But at the same time, I feel like there are some regulations that need to be put in place. At some levels, self-policing the industry, it doesn't always work. I mean, we need to make sure that people aren't selling to kids under 18. As a big thing right now is the copyright infringement on the labels, and it gives the impression of companies marketing to kids. So stuff like that, I think that if we can't police it internally, then regulations probably need to come down on that.
What about you, Ted?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I don't find anything that's illogical about that. You have to have some kind of regulation. I mean, free enterprise is great, but look what happened in the Gulf of Mexico, with those companies. If they're not regulated and people don't do something, things get out of control. And the same thing happens with any industry, the vape industry included. You know.
Right. What is your? Oh, I just asked that one. Are you either one of you? Are you afraid to fight against the FDA, big tobacco, big pharma, and legislation? And
I
if
don't know
so,
what you mean by fighting. I mean, you want me to bring a gun or something?
no. I mean, standing up for your rights and rallying against the regulation, the regulations and stuff like that. Speaking your mind, letting them know that you're not going to back off.
Well,
I do that. I speak my mind a lot. You can ask my daughter. It's not pretty sometimes.
yeah, he's definitely not afraid to speak his mind, and I try to take after him.
She also tries to quiet me down too, you know.
Well, let's ask this. What do you think our biggest strategy would be against them?
See, that I don't know. I'm not a political person. I don't see how they do these tradings and backdoor stuff and all that, because that's what it seems like it is to me. You know, that's not where I'm at. I just want to live my life and do what I want to do, and I just see these moral luminaries trying to trample all over me. You know, I don't know if you know what a moral luminary is, but they're the people that forego ordinary pleasures and get compensation from interfering with the pleasures of others. And that was Bertrand Russell that said that, and I really believe that.
I think that if we educate the public, maybe there'll be less fear behind their reactions. It may even take as far as having a figurehead to represent us overall. Someone well respected overall in political community and maybe even entertainment community. Just somebody who their word has a lot of value to the public.
Do you both try to follow your state's regulations as much as possible, like vaping in public or going into a restaurant and vaping if they don't allow it? Do you still try to get away with it, or do you follow the regulations?
Let me go first on that. I found that vaping is like free speech. As long as nobody notices it, you can do anything, say anything you want. And I was in the hospital for my heart. Actually, it was I had some internal bleeding, and I was there for a week, and I vaped there for a week straight, and nobody ever knew that I was vaping the whole time I was there, because I don't hookah vape. I cigarette vape, and you hold it in, and when it comes out, nobody sees anything, and you can barely even notice any odor or anything. So that's my take on it. Nobody even notices it when I vape. It's like I'm a stealth vapor,
Right.
and that works for me,
Yeah, he can get away with vaping just about any place because he doesn't rip big clouds and
I'm a very considerate vapor.
he is.
Okay. And what about you, Sarah?
Kelsey Hayes.
I generally make it a point not to vape in places that I'm not supposed to. I used to vape in work, but I also worked the night shift, and everybody that was there was fine with it. But now that I'm in a more prominent position, I make sure I take it outside.
Okay. How do you believe the best way would be to get the word out that vaping is better for us than smoking to those that don't believe?
Definitely need more studies.
Yeah, but you how do you combat the garbage that gets put out there? The stuff where I keep on hearing about people. Oh, the person's got pneumonia, and this person's got his lungs filled up with liquid, and these people are vaping oil, but nobody reads everything. They just read the little bits. Oh, they were vaping, and they don't read.
They read headlines.
What they were vaping,
Right.
And then that's the whole thing. People don't have they're not deep. They're not looking for stuff that's deep. So if you're wanting to educate people, I think that's a hopeless cause.
I think it might still come down to the word of somebody whose word carries a lot of value to people.
Well, the Surgeon General of the United States, it was a couple years ago, but he still came out and said that vaping was a lot better for you than smoking, and I didn't hear a lot of publicity about that. I just heard it a few places, and then it just kind of died. And here's some things that you people have, and you just got to get there and repeat them and repeat them, and people will believe it if you repeat it enough, whether it's true or not.
There was another society, I don't remember if it was the Heart Association or the Cancer Society or the Lung Association. It was one of those that had also said something about vaping being better for you than smoking.
I
Right.
think you might be talking about the Mayo Clinic.
Maybe. This was probably just around the time I started smoking, so it was like 2 years ago.
This one was just recently. This one was just recently. Well, my last question to you, do you have any last words of advice for those that may think vaping is bad and for those that need to stand up for the rights for vaping?
Don't give up.
Well, don't condemn something before you understand it. You know, that's the whole problem is people fear things that they don't understand. And if people will just stop and look at things and look at the actual benefits over what smoking does. I mean, I know for a fact what smoking does. I can attest to that, and I'd never do it again. If I had to give up vaping, I don't think I'd go back to smoking. You know, I might chew tobacco or something, but I see what it did to my mom, and it just not good.
Yeah, and the only thing I could say is to people that think that it's not any better for you than smoking is talk to vapors. Listen to their stories, listen to how much better they feel. And if that's not a clear indication to how much better it is for you, then I don't think that they'll ever understand it.
And do you have any last words of advice to anybody?
Don't start smoking.
I mean, if you're considering using vaping to attempt to quit smoking, try it. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Oh, and the other thing too is you don't gain weight by vaping. I've lost 30 pounds since I started vaping, you know, as opposed to smoking. And that's been a real benefit for me. My doctor says, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You know.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do thank you for the interview. And like I say, this is going to be up on YouTube within the hour, maybe hour and a half, depends on how fast I can get it up. But again, I do want to thank you both. It was awesome talking to you. And we probably will have more projects similar to this. So I hope you both are able to join us.
Well, if you're going to have some kind of rallies or something like that, you know, I'm retired. It's not like I've got a lot to do, you know.
I will for sure let you know.
All right.